Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with our guests, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. If you're new to the show, these are all companies I used as an AD. They're all great companies. I really recommend you check them out. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit these sponsors because you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to thank Athletic Surveys for their support of the podcast. At my school, we use surveys for everything, for student athletes, for coaches, and for parents. And the information that came back was extremely valuable because most of it was over the top positive. And when we're meeting with a frustrated parent or maybe your principal or school board, you can share that information and let them know how great your program is doing. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an AD, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com. Find out all the ways that Huddle can turn your program into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We want to thank Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Probably the best purchase I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. We also want to thank Home Campus. Whether it's scheduling, rosters, results, Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every day. I'm telling you, their eligibility and clearance option alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com. You're going to be very glad you did. We'd like to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant AD, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program, and it was a great experience. He also completed, as did all Ohio University attendees, 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We'd like to say thank you to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com. Let their team turn you into a social media marketing genius. Whether you're looking for solutions for just your school, the district, or the athletic department, Gipper's suite of fast and easy products has all the tools you'll need to make your organization stand out. That's Gipper.com. We also want to thank Hometown. Hometown is changing the game for schools with their solutions that include things like, digital ticketing, online registration, scheduling options, athletic website construction, fee-free fundraising, and a whole lot more. If you're a principal, if you're an AD, even if you're a head coach, Hometown's going to show you how to save time, raise money, and bring your community together. That's hometown.com. We also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a cool way to display your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Take a look at their interactive touch screen video consoles. These are going to be a magnet for student athletes, for parents, for sponsors. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and don't forget to mention the podcast. We also want to thank Snap Raise. If you're looking for a fundraiser, your search is over. No more putting weeks and weeks into a platform and be disappointed in the results. We use Snap at our school with great success, and so will you. It's professional fundraising, but at your school. Go to snapraise.com. Check out all their great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's Snap Raise. Snapraise.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. If you listened to the podcast before, you certainly heard the name Jan Murphy. I would dare say one of our very favorite guests. If you're new, Jan has an incredible background in athletics. She was a successful high school and college athlete, a long-time high school and college coach, 40 years. She's worked at all different levels, middle school, high school, collegiately. She's worked with USA Track and Field, continues to work with them as a master official in their certification program. Jan Murphy, welcome back to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Jake.
Well, I know it's a busy time for you, but wanted you to share. We have listeners at all points in their career. We have people like you and I who are retired. We have people that are still coaching strong. We have people that are just starting their careers, whether it's in coaching or administration, and we even have aspiring leaders, aspiring coaches. Here's what I'd like to talk about today. You a couple of years ago, you were inducted into your college's Oregon State University. You were inducted into their Athletic Hall of Fame as a a Title IX pioneer athlete. Back in the '70s when Title IX first got going, and running Division I, and just again, congratulations on that honor. But I understand you also were recently inducted into another Hall of Fame where you were a very successful coach. I was wondering if you could just maybe share with our listeners a little bit about that part of your career, that history. And then I want to talk about the things that you did as a coach that obviously helped tell other people, hey, this person's a Hall of Famer.
Um, well, I getting that job was a bit of a fluke, I think. But once I got there, I ended up recruiting girls that had run for me in a junior college, so they knew me, and I think that really helped make that transition for me.
Yeah, go ahead and share again the time frame. What school you're at, and paint the picture for our listeners.
This was 1994. So I'd been out of college about 14 years. I graduated from college at a time when there were a plethora of PE teachers and it was very difficult to get a job. Um, but I had had a successful high school career. I'd worked a little bit at the junior college, and it was 1994. And Oregon just doesn't have that many colleges, and not that many colleges that had a track program, uh, for women. So my husband and I both went out to Missouri and took jobs at this at Missouri Valley College, and it it was just for me it was a huge, huge environmental change because Oregon's not humid, even though people think it is. To move to Missouri where it was 100% humidity, it's 90 degrees, and I brought these athletes from Oregon to run, but the kids that knew me, there was already a bond there, and so they kind of passed it on to the other girls. They all liked each other. That was really helpful. And I want to say it was a manageable, and now sometimes there was as many as 14, but it wasn't like 30 kids. So 14 is a group where, groups of two or three are all friends, and then they're friends with other people. They want their team to succeed. Um, and the training was very difficult, and they really helped each other out. I really felt like that helped make us successful.
Right, and you were hired in part as the head cross country coach, and then that led into coaching the distance runners on the track team
Yes,
for both
yes,
indoor and outdoor track. Now, um, my understanding is that they had cross country at Missouri Valley, but really not a lot was being done with it. So, how did you go about? And again, your background, you were very successful as a high school coach. How did you go about? I guess creating that championship culture. That spoiler alert, your team ended up winning the conference championship that very first year. How did you create that?
well, I'm just going to say hard work. When I moved to Missouri, I took my little Pontiac Grand Am out. I drove around the town. I found some hills. I found some long distance runs. I found some parks. Um, we had a little place that we could do like little short sprints. So I just found where we could work out, found a way to do it, and then just did it. Now, most of the time it was my own vehicle, driving the kids with water, but it was a small enough community, safe enough. I could drive them out 12 miles and drop them off and meet them every 3 miles for water. That was one of the hardest training thing they did, but That's I just said, okay, this is what we need to do to be successful. And some of them whined and balked, and some of them just really stepped it up. And the ones that stepped it up got the ones that were whining and balking to be quiet. So it was kind of the team helped manage it.
As obviously there was that first race for the team. And you've shared before that, there were some, D1 colleges there, Missouri Valley's NAIA and just everything in between. At what point of the season did you did you as a coach, and then maybe I'm guessing maybe the team feel like, hey, we're pretty good. We might have a chance to win conference. Or was that ever there? Was it a shock when you won conference at the conference championship meet?
I didn't think we would win, but back in 1994, we didn't have Max Preps or any of these computer programs. So I literally had a piece of paper, and this is what this college's best runner does. And this is what, and I kind of mapped that out. And I told my girls, I go, I don't know that we can get number one, first place in terms of our first runner, but certainly our best runner is going to be in the top four. And it just so happened that runner two and three were pretty close to her. And it was just, they were just inspired by all of that. And I said, we only need so many points. And if you do this, and if you do this, and you do this, we'll get there. And they did. And yeah, I was totally just shocked when we won, but it was phenomenal. And it was fun to celebrate it again this weekend.
Yeah. And again, that particular team, it was the first in the long, even at that point in the 90s, it was the first team, women's cross country team to ever win the conference championship for Missouri Valley. And again, spoiler alert, it's still the only team to ever win that team title in cross country. Now you went on to regionals. You shared you took the team to nationals. Any memories from those two meets stick out for you? 30
We
years
didn't have
later?
regionals.
No.
We just went straight to nationals from our conference. So our national meet was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. It was snowing. They had to sweep the line. It was in like this like a big field with a crested road that they ran on. It was really tough. And I personally I thought, it's you want to do the best you can the first year, and then and you learn from it. So the next year, okay, we need to do this differently, or we need to do this differently. And so that first year, I just really wanted them to have that experience and not worry about how well are we going to do. We're going to do the best that we can. And unfortunately, our best runner fell off into the bushes. And so that really crushed our chances there. But she did get up and she did finish the race. So that was pretty impressive.
Wow. Okay. Again, that's probably quite another temperature change from the humidity to the snow and the ice.
Yeah.
All right, cross country's done, record setting, historic season, and you make the transition, which again, for you as a coach and for, those girls that you had recruited from Oregon, another brand new experience of indoor track and field.
Yeah.
Want to touch briefly on that, and then we'll get to the outdoor season. What are some of your memories of that first indoor track season?
I just felt like I learned so many things. Like, we had to go change directions all the time because otherwise they were always leaning to the left, and their left hip hurts, their left knee hurt, their left feet hurt. We had to make sure, maybe we would run in the outside lanes. You couldn't necessarily run outside that much in the winter because some days it was, below zero. Um, so we really did the best we can, and there was a second floor that had an indoor lane, and they would run up the stairs, run around there, run down, run around the track, just to get the time and the running in. But I think that they did that winter season, and I think that really made a difference for track because we didn't have to start all over again. They weren't off for 2 months, so I think that was really helpful.
Right. Oh no, absolutely. Now, from indoor track, you make the transition into outdoor track. And now, if I have my years, I want to have my notes right here. It's 1995. Your distance crew was part of a very successful, and again, a true team. And again, for our listeners, spoiler alert, um, the 95 team that we're just getting ready to talk about was the team that I was referring to that was recently inducted into the Missouri Valley College Athletic Hall of Fame for the athletes as well as the coaches. So, once again, Coach Murphy, congratulations on entering another Hall of Fame. And for our listeners, I'll shut up here in a minute. Um, Here it is, 2025, 30 years later. That group of athletes, the cross country runners that also ran track along with the track athletes, still hold 15 school records across all the disciplines: sprinting, relays, hurdles, jumps, throws, and yes, distance races. Off the top of my head, I think you mentioned it was the distance medley and the women's steeplechase that those records set back in 1995 still held today. Now, there's the spoiler alert. What are some of your memories of that first outdoor season that ended up being a historic record setting Hall of Fame season?
Just a lot of perseverance. I can remember a lot of weather, a lot of rain, certainly really different, getting on the bus, having 70 kids eat at McDonald's, and then heading out to the track meet where we're going to be all day long and just kind of getting comfortable with preparing those college athletes, which was a little bit different than high school, where you show up, you run, you go home. You're going to be there all day long. So that really made a difference. And I really felt like the kids wanted to do well. And so that was really not a trouble. If you asked them to do something, they would say, well, I've never done that before. I don't know if I can do that, but they would do it. It wasn't like, no, I'm not going to do that. And they were, because of that, we were successful. So many of them said yes when asked.
I mentioned the steeplechase, I mentioned the distance medley. Can you remember another race, another meet? And again, this same group, they did qualify for the NAIA Nationals, and according to my notes, did pretty well there. Any single race or experience from that 95 season jump out at you? We're going to get to Hall of Fame in a second.
So our distance runner, Gretchen, was running the 10,000, and it started on the backside of the track. It was raining, and I want to say it's 36 laps. And I stood there the whole time telling her lap. She was even lap for lap for lap, and those points after that race put us over the top. Everybody else was on the bus at that time, I think, because it was cold and raining, and she was out there running lap after lap. And I got to see her this weekend, and that was one of the things that we shared, that was a pretty memorable track meet where she's just one lap after another, just very consistent, and those team points made the difference in that meet and perseverance moving forward.
Yeah, again, those are the types of for a distance runner, just lap after lap after lap. Um, let's go and talk about the Hall of Fame. It was just, it was very recent. What was your reaction? What were you thinking when you first got that notification that, hey, we're inducting your team after 30 years?
I thought it was about time, and I just thought, yeah, I mean, I had been back to Missouri Valley a couple of times. I've seen their Hall of Fame, and I've looked at some of the accomplishments of other people, and I thought my team was just as good, if not more impressive than some of the other ones, and they belonged up there. So I thought it was about time.
When you got back on campus, were there a lot of athletes that came back? What was that experience like for the ceremony?
There were quite a few, 15 or 16. It was difficult because a lot of those kids, it was 30 years ago, they're in their 50s and they still have a full-time job. And if they're in Missouri, yeah, they can drive over for the day, but the Oregon kids that we recruited and kids from other states, they are still working. They have children, so not that many were able to make it. And it was also difficult getting in touch with everybody because if they're not a Facebook friend or on Twitter or something, it was really hard. So if some of you hear this that didn't get the notification, I apologize, but we did the best that we could to notify everybody and find your friends to find their friends so you could come.
Now, you'd before we started recording, you mentioned that you had kept sounds like a pretty extensive scrapbook and photo albums that you took back to Missouri and shared with the athletes. What were some of the reactions from them seeing those pictures? Have they seen anything like that in their own collection?
No, not really, because I mean, that wasn't a time where we had cameras that the photos were saved, and a lot of them didn't have any of those pictures. I took the pictures, so I had the pictures, felt a little guilty. But they were, they were able to take pictures of my pictures, so they have those memories, and it was great reminders of the things that we did, car washes and some of the runs that we did together, some of the places that we were at, they really enjoyed looking at those pictures.
As you look back on your career, 40 plus years, again, high school, college, USA track and field, you continue to stay involved as an official and serving on committees at a state and national level. Looking back at your coaching career, are there, because I think new coaches, young coaches, maybe even old coaches, they say, well, geez, I want to be in a Hall of Fame, or I want my kids to be in a Hall of Fame. How can I do it? And are there factors or points that you can look back to in your own career and say, hey, these are things that, I'm glad I did them because they made a difference. And again, I'm forcing you to think Hall of Fame. I know that we all, coach the kids, we're trying to get better, all that good stuff. But just from the Hall of Fame, do you think there's any one or two or more factors that allowed all those other things to happen and also make that jump to being the team and the athletes Hall of Fame worthy and the coach?
I I don't I don't exactly know how to answer that. I know that in my career, I had 12 different 12 different uh, cross country and track teams in 8 different states, and I think the accomplishments that I could have done at any one of those places didn't necessarily come to fruition because I left for job reasons. Um, and I think, like, I live in Florida now, and I didn't work at a job long enough to get those accolades here that I would have gotten had I done that. Um, and I kind of think for Hall of Fame people, they do need to look beyond the contributions that a person has made um, to their sport. So I started my high school cross country team. I ran in college in the first years women were allowed to run, and I spent 40 years coaching men and women in track and field with many successful athletes, state champions, etc. I was coach of the year uh, 15, 16 times. Um, and even though those are impressive, when another person looks at it, they're like, well, yeah, but you were the coach of the year for this little small school conference. So maybe it's not that important. So I'm not really sure. I think everyone is a little bit different. And I think they don't just look at the records of what you had, but they look at where you are now. Like, if I was in jail or something, I probably wouldn't be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and again, I think coaches and ADs listening now, can really echo and appreciate those responses or those facets to the process. But for you, congratulations on being inducted into another Hall of Fame. Congratulations on a very, very impressive and worthy career. And as always, thanks for spending time with us on the podcast. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out and pick your brain a little bit about cross country, about track, or about leadership, and listeners, you have a tremendous resource here. What's the best way that our listeners can get in touch with Jan Murphy?
My email, janpmurphy@gmail.com.
Okay. And I think you're also active on social media as well. And we didn't even mention you host your own podcast called Title Nine Time Machine, where you visit with women that share their own Title Nine experience. So
Yes.
thanks again for coming on, and all the best moving forward.
All right. Thank you. It was great talking to you again.
For our listeners, it's always great having you on. And just a reminder, we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do Wednesday Wisdom just about every week, just about every day. We try to share stories from the world of athletics along with some best practices. So please come back and join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Hey, before we go, as always, really encourage you to go visit our podcast sponsors. Now, remember, these are all companies that I used as an athletic director, most of them every single day. They're great companies. You're going to love them too. Go to hometown.com. Check out all the things the Hometown platform can do for you. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. You'll find them at sidelineinteractive.com. Ohio University's online masters. My assistant AD, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio University program. Home Campus, you've heard me say before, it's a platform you're going to use every day. Go to homecampus.com. Snap Raise, if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. Go to snapraise.com. Gipper, create world-class social media posts. Go to gipper.com. Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Huddle, as a football coach, I used Huddle. As an AD, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com. And finally, Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.